Bill McGuckin, my grandfather, was a pharmacist in Fort Lupton, Colorado, and they had a fire in the store. And he'd always wanted to open a fishing shop somewhere. And in '55, he came to Boulder and opened a sporting goods store, but it was also hardware. And my dad, his son-in-law, said to him, well, maybe you should stock something that'll keep you year-round, not just fly fishing equipment. He started with plumbing, hardware, little housewares, not much, but a nice fishing department. My dad, as a parent, was really great. We lived on a mountaintop. We lived above Boulder, 5 miles out of town. And we would call him and say, can you bring a bag of nails home and a hammer? And he would say, you have a hammer. And we'd say, no, we don't have a hammer. Bring a hammer home. He owned a hardware store. Bring us a hammer. He'd say, well, you guys left it out in the Thule patch. That was the name for where all the hammers disappeared to. We accused him of taking it back to work and selling it. So Mom and Dad both. She supported at home his passion for building a business. I asked him in high school how much he made, and it was ridiculously low. He was fueling a company that the money went into the company. It didn't go home. He drove old cars. He's a humble, just a easygoing guy. He learned life lessons at an early age. Then when he passed them to us, it was a lot of wisdom. So he passes great things to us, yeah. So what gets me up in the morning, it's like the first thing coming into work is, who am I gonna help today? And really, we've made so many friends in the community by helping them out with some problem that they've got. And once you get that level of, oh, they can trust you, you trust them, and then you become friends, and you find out about their families. It's really great. It really is. It builds a community that I say it's a wonderful life. Yeah. The Green Vest got started many years ago, probably in the late 70s, and it was to identify people that worked here, because it was so funny how many times someone in the store would be approached and say, do you work here? And they didn't work here, but they looked like they worked here. And so to identify us, what the green symbolizes, which is really great, is a lot of times when you're helping people, I always say it's a great town for recycling, for redoing. So if you're fixing something up, you don't have to go buy a new one. That's the green part of McGuckin, and it's to help people solve problems. We've got 200 employees, and the vests get looking pretty ratty after a while, so we have to redo them about every 2-3 years. One of the badges on them that's really great is when it does say manager, or they've moved up in the organization. Like I say, they get that trust with the community. They become part of the store. It's also partly their store. So when they're helping someone, they take ownership. And so that's how you move up in the store, just by taking ownership. The McGuckin's traveling pin. So we've always had a pin that has our logo on it. People around the world, a friend of mine was in Germany with his brother, and he was looking for parts for an automobile. And this is 20 years ago. They were driving down an Autobahn, and they pulled into a place to find parts for this car. And they went in, and his brother speaks fluent German. My friend doesn't. The guy on the counter starts talking to him, and his brother says, I need this part. Guy on the counter, yeah. And he pulls out a McGuckin hardware pin to write the order up with. And my friend Matt says, I'm from that town. That's my town. And the German breaks into English. He goes, I'm going there someday. I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna get there someday to that town. So that's one of them. The other one was, the other pin story that's really great is two gentlemen were hiking in Nepal. They were going from Pakistan into Nepal. They were on a foot trail, and where they came to the border crossing, it was just a guy in a little house, and you had to sign in. And one guy looks at the other one guy and says, do you have a pen? And he goes, no. And the other guy backpacking says, do you have a pen? No, I don't have a pen. The border guard pulls out a McGuckin hardware pin and says, don't take it, it's my only one. And they're like, that's where we're from. So it creates community, which is great. We're going through a tough time right now with the COVID and just staying open. And my dad, he is at home, and he wishes everyone well, and he's so thankful for the crew that stayed in here for COVID. And so it's been It's been a trying time, and right now it's trying times trying to get merchandise from our vendors. They've run into hard times as well, where it's just the pressure on, there's a lot of demand. I think with the stay-at-home, everybody wanted to fix their house up. So there's a lot of demand. And Dave's hope for the future is that there are opportunities in America for small businesses to really thrive and survive. With the onslaught of large companies coming in and taking market share, he wishes that small town America would thrive. It really is a great life. It's a good lifestyle. He's grown a family, and he's got grandkids, and now he's got great grandkids, and he's seen a lot of history. If you were born in 1929, think about that, where Ford made a car that hardly got across the town, let alone to bring it to modern times. He just is amazed at the changes and trying to embrace the change. Yeah, it's a good one. Dad, at Christmas time, we stand in the store and we look down the aisles, and how thankful are we? You see droves of people in here. It's awe-inspiring because we look at it as a gathering. People come home from being far away, and they've been, they grew up here in Boulder. They go on, they live in, and you talk to them and they say, I'm from New York City and I'm back for Christmas and I just had to come to the favorite place. So we're humble about that. It's really, it's hard to put into words how you actually feel, but it's really great that people have such a history with us. And my parents always say, they said it yesterday, that it's really great. The customers have really been, who have supported us all these years, have helped us. When we change something, when I move something around or I change something, I get a lot of grief for it. Not from the employees usually, mostly from the customers. It's like, don't change anything, don't leave it the way it is. So my dad and mom's, it's really an odyssey of where they went, how they got to here. It's not over yet. There's still years to come. There's still family here. And I think that's their wish, is that it just continues on. And I'm third generation. I think my son's in here working as well, Jason. He's fourth generation. And I think it could be his daughter, or son, that may be fifth generation. We don't know. So it's that sixth generation, seventh. We'd like to see it go on. My dad's wish for everyone, whenever he was approached by someone saying, hey, why don't you make this nationwide and open 50 stores? He said, no, why don't you just give 50 families an opportunity to have a great life in their town? I'd really like to thank the Longs Peak Council of the Boy Scouts of America for honoring my parents. They are so thankful and they are so humble that something like this would come their way. They are homestaying and enjoying life at home, but thank you.